The sun was dropping behind the red cliffs when Caleb Ward guided his horse along the quiet path. Dust rose gently behind the hooves, floating like soft smoke in the warm evening air. Caleb had spent many years traveling these desert lands, and he knew every bend, every hidden stream, and every place where a person could disappear if they wished to. He lived a simple life, one of long rides, quiet camps, and friendly talks with travelers who crossed his way. Many people in the nearby towns trusted him, and even those who lived far from the towns, including the Apache tribes, knew his name and respected his calm nature. Caleb had always tried to stay out of trouble. He kept to himself, helped when he could, and avoided choosing sides when others argued. But he had heard rumors over the past few weeks, rumors of worry in the air. People whispered that the Apache tribe living near the foothills was in danger. Their land was shrinking, food was becoming harder to find, and some groups wanted to push them away completely. Caleb didn't know how much was true, but he sensed something heavy in the wind each day. That evening, as he set up camp beside a quiet creek, he heard a soft rustle among the trees. His hand moved slowly toward his bag, but he kept calm. It wasn't the sound of an animal. It was too careful, too controlled, like someone who didn't want to be noticed but also didn't want to hide. A few moments later, a young Apache woman stepped into the fading light. She stood tall, with strong posture and eyes full of quiet fire. Her name was Nalin, and Caleb recognized her face. He had seen her once or twice from a distance, usually guiding younger children or carrying supplies while the others prepared for travel. She was known among her people for her courage and quick thinking. Tonight, though, she carried something else in her stare, deep worry mixed with strong determination. Caleb didn't speak at first. He simply nodded to show she was welcome near his fire. Nalin stepped closer and stood with her hands folded respectfully. "I come to you because I have no other road left," she said softly. Her voice was calm, but her breath trembled at the edges. Caleb's brow lowered with gentle concern. "What's troubling you?" Nalin looked down at the ground for a moment before lifting her gaze again. "My tribe is in danger," she said. "We are small, fewer than we once were. A large group from another band wants the land we live on. We have tried to speak with them, tried to find peace, but nothing has eased their minds." Caleb listened closely. Her words carried no anger, only fear for her people. "There is a path," she continued, "a narrow trail through the canyon that leads to safer grounds. It is a difficult path, one that only if you know. I have heard that you know it well." Caleb nodded slowly. He did know that trail. It was tight and twisting, with hidden turns that could confuse anyone who hadn't traveled it often. "My people cannot make the journey alone," Nalin said quietly. "Not without someone who understands the land as you do." Caleb leaned back slightly. He understood the weight of what she was asking. Guiding an entire tribe through a narrow canyon was not simple. It required careful timing, steady movement, and knowledge of the land's smallest details. One wrong turn, one slide of loose rock, and everything could go wrong. Before he could speak, Nalin stepped closer. Her voice lowered, as though the trees themselves were listening. "I am ready to give whatever I must," she said. "My elders told me to come to you, but this offer, this is mine alone." She swallowed hard. "Save my tribe, and I will give you strong offspring." The words hung in the night air like a silent echo. Caleb's eyes softened in surprise. He understood instantly that Nalin was not offering herself lightly. In her culture, children were sacred. Promising such a thing meant she felt desperate enough to give a part of her future, a part of her identity, for the sake of her people. But Caleb shook his head gently. "Nalin," he said, "I don't want anything from you. I don't help people for rewards, and certainly not for something so personal. You're not a bargaining tool. You're a person trying to save your home." Nalin stood still, her breath unsteady. She had an expected refusal, not from someone the tribe believed to be kind. Her offer wasn't made from desire, but from fear, hope, and duty. For a moment, she looked lost, almost as though she expected her last chance to slip through her fingers. Caleb smiled softly, his voice calm. "You came here because you believe I can help, and you were brave enough to ask. That's enough. I'll guide your tribe." Not for a promise, but because it's the right thing to do. Slow relief washed through Nallen's eyes, though the tension in her shoulders remained. The danger still existed, and the journey ahead would not be simple. "Thank you," she whispered. That night, the two sat by the fire as Nallen explained every detail about her tribe's current situation. Their food was low, several elders were weak, and the children were frightened. They needed to reach the safe land before sunrise 2 days from now, or it would be too late. Caleb listened carefully, planning each step in his mind. He asked questions about the number of people, their speed, their supplies, and their health. Nallen answered with quiet strength, proving she was not only brave, but also deeply responsible. When the fire grew low, Caleb told her to rest. She sat a short distance away, leaning against a smooth rock, staring at the stars with silent hope. Caleb watched the night sky too. He thought about the many years he had lived alone, answering only to the wind. He was used to helping individuals, a traveler lost on the road, a rancher needing guidance, a child searching for home. But guiding an entire tribe was different. It required trust, courage, and steady faith from everyone involved. He wasn't sure what challenges they might face, but he knew he couldn't turn away now. At dawn, Nallen led Caleb to the place where her tribe waited. They were gathered near a cluster of trees, their faces filled with a mix of fear and quiet trust. Many of them had heard of Caleb or the calm cowboy who never broke a promise. When they saw him arrive, a soft wave of hope passed through the group. The elders stepped forward to greet him. Their eyes were tired, their cheeks withered by time, but they spoke with dignity. They thanked him for coming and for agreeing to help. Caleb responded with a respectful nod. "We'll make it through the canyon," he assured them, "but everyone must follow closely. The way is narrow, and the land can be tricky." Nallen helped organize the group. Her voice was gentle, but firm as she guided the children to the center, surrounded by adults for protection. She spoke calmly to the elders, helping them prepare for the walk. Caleb watched her with admiration she did not see. She was strong, wise, and loyal, qualities far more meaningful than the promise she had tried to offer him. As the sun climbed higher, the tribe began their journey. Caleb led the way on foot, guiding them along the first stretch of the trail. The land opened into wide fields before narrowing into rocky corridors where the path turned steep and sharp. Caleb pointed out loose stones, drop-offs, and the best places to step whenever someone stumbled. Nallen was there with a steady hand and encouraging words. She moved through the group like a guiding light, keeping spirits high even as the air grew cooler and the canyon walls rose tall around them. Caleb could feel how much trust they placed in him. With each quiet step, he understood more deeply why Nallen had come to him in the night. These people were her life, her heart. She had been ready to give up her future just to keep them safe. As they reached the first narrow bend of the canyon, Caleb paused and looked back at the tribe. Their tired eyes, their hopeful faces, and Nallen's determined stare all reminded him of the responsibility resting on his shoulders. "This is just the beginning," he thought, "but I'll see them through." And with steady steps, he led them deeper into the canyon, unaware of how much the coming hours would shape all their futures. The deeper the tribe moved into the canyon, the cooler the air became. Tall walls of stone rose on both sides, turning the world into a long, twisting hallway. The sky above was now only a thin blue line. The tribe walked quietly, listening to Caleb's soft instructions. Every few steps, he would point out where the rocks were loose or where the ground dipped. Everyone followed carefully, trusting his steady voice. Nallen walked near the children, gently guiding them whenever their feet slipped or when they became tired. She carried one of the smallest girls in her arms for part of the way, whispering calming words. Even while carrying so much responsibility, she kept her posture straight and her expression calm. Caleb noticed this each time he looked back. Her strength amazed him. For a while, the path widened enough for everyone to breathe easier. Caleb took a slow look around, studying the shape of the rocks and the direction of the slope. "We're making good progress," he said. "If we keep moving at this pace, we'll reach the safe land before sunset." The tribe murmured softly, relieved, but as they continued, a faint sound drifted through the canyon. It was soft at first, almost like wind brushing against stone. Caleb paused and listened closely. Nalin heard it too. She stepped closer to him and whispered, "Do you hear that?" Caleb nodded. The sound wasn't harmful, just unexpected. Maybe loose pebbles, maybe the echo of distant footsteps from animals. But in a narrow place like this, even a small noise could make people nervous. Caleb turned to the group with a reassuring smile. "It's nothing we need to fear. These canyons are full of little sounds." The tribe relaxed again, moving forward at a steady pace. As they walked, Nalin came forward to speak quietly with Caleb. "I've watched you guiding us," she said softly. "The way you study the land, the way you keep everyone safe. I am truly grateful." Caleb looked ahead, keeping an eye on the path. "Your people trust you too," he replied. "I've seen how they look to you when they feel uncertain. Your guidance gives them confidence." Nalin lowered her eyes slightly, touched by his words. "I only try to do what my heart tells me," she said. "I want my people to feel protected." "And they do," Caleb said, giving her a warm smile. "You've done more for them than you realize." Their conversation felt calm and warm, like sunlight breaking through clouds. For a moment, both of them walked in thoughtful silence, each carrying a quiet connection neither had expected when the journey began. After several hours, they reached the narrowest part of the canyon. The walls leaned closer, casting long shadows that danced gently across the path. The ground here was uneven, made of slanted stone and shallow cracks. Caleb motioned for everyone to slow down. "Watch your steps here," he advised. "It's easy to slip." The tribe moved carefully, supporting one another. Nalin helped the elders one by one, placing her hand on their arms and guiding them with gentle patience. Caleb watched her for a moment before turning back to lead. As they made their way through the tightest stretch, Caleb suddenly spotted something ahead, a small pile of loose rocks resting near the edge of a ledge. It wasn't dangerous yet, but if someone stepped in the wrong place, the stones could tumble and startle the group. He turned to Nalin. "We need to make sure no one walks too close to the left side," he said. "I'll walk ahead and guide them around it." Nalin nodded. "I'll help from the back." Together, they guided the tribe around the loose rock area. It took time, patience, and careful steps, but eventually everyone made it past safely. When the last person crossed, Nalin let out a small sigh of relief. Caleb smiled. "We're almost through the hard part," he said. After another stretch of walking, the canyon began to open wider. The walls slowly peeled back, and the sunlight grew stronger. Green plants appeared along the edges, a sign that they were getting closer to open land. Caleb felt hope rise inside him. "We're not far now," he announced. "Once we reach the wide field ahead, we'll be safe." The children cheered softly, and the adults exchanged grateful looks. But just as the group reached the mouth of the canyon, the unexpected happened. A gentle tremor shook the ground, so light at first that it felt like a distant heartbeat. Loose sand trickled from the canyon walls. Caleb scanned the cliffs quickly. A section of the upper rock had shifted. It didn't fall, but it rested at an angle that suggested it could slide at any moment. Caleb raised his voice calmly. Everyone moved slowly but steadily toward the open ground. "Don't run. Just keep walking." The tribe obeyed instantly, trusting his tone. Nalin helped guide the elders and children with calm instructions. Caleb walked behind them, watching the rock above while still staying composed. They had almost reached safety when a soft crumble echoed behind them. A few small stones rolled down, not enough to harm anyone, but enough to make everyone increase their speed just a little. Caleb kept his voice steady. "You're doing great. Keep moving. We're almost out." At last, the tribe stepped out of the narrowing canyon and onto wide, open land where the sun touched the grass and the wind blew freely. The moment they reached the open area, a wave of relief swept through the group. Nalin looked back at the canyon with a deep breath. "We made it," she whispered. Caleb nodded with a tired smile. "Yes, all of you did." The tribe gathered around their new temporary camp, a peaceful field with scattered trees and a gentle stream nearby. Elders sat down to rest, parents comforted their children, and young adults collected fresh water and food. A sense of safety finally settled over the group. As everyone settled, The elders approached Caleb with warm eyes. They offered him heartfelt blessings and spoke words filled with gratitude. They thanked him not only for guiding them, but also for bringing calm to their hearts. During the most difficult parts of the journey, Caleb accepted their kind words with humble respect. "You didn't need me as much as you think," he told them. "You all stayed strong, and that's what got us here." When the elders stepped away, Nalin approached him quietly. She looked calmer now, her shoulders relaxed, her expression softer than before. For the first time in days, she looked like someone who could finally breathe again. "You kept your promise," she said. "You saved us." Caleb shook his head lightly. "You gave me your trust. That's what allowed me to help." Nalin looked at him with thoughtful eyes. "When I first came to you, I made an offer from fear. I didn't know what else to give. I thought my life had value only if it could protect my people." She paused. "But after walking beside you, I understand now that you see people differently." Caleb smiled gently. "You don't owe me anything, Nalin. I didn't help you for a reward." Nalin took a deep breath, her voice warm. "I know, and that makes me respect you even more." A quiet warmth settled between them, something simple, gentle, and honest. Not a promise, not a bargain, not a duty, just understanding. Caleb looked out at the tribe, now laughing softly and sharing food. "You have a bright future here," he said. "Your people are strong. They'll rebuild." Nalin followed his gaze. "Yes, and your kindness will be part of the stories we tell." Caleb felt touched by her words. He knew he would soon leave and continue his wandering life. But a part of his heart would stay in this peaceful field, remembering the tribe that trusted him and the young woman who carried so much courage. As the sun set behind the hills, casting warm gold across the land, Caleb prepared his horse. The tribe gathered to say goodbye. Nalin stepped forward, her eyes filled with gratitude and quiet emotion. "You will always be welcome among us," she said softly. Caleb tipped his hat with a gentle smile. "And you'll always have a friend in me." With one last look at the safe and peaceful tribe, Caleb rode away slowly, following the open trail ahead. Nalin watched him go, knowing that although their paths were different, their hearts carried the same memory, a shared journey that changed both of them in ways they would never forget. Their worlds had crossed by chance, but the understanding they built would live on, carried in stories and in the quiet strength of those who remember the kindness of a wandering cowboy.